The machete was still wet with blood when Amara found the letter. Her hands trembled as she read the words that would change everything. The money is yours, but the curse is permanent. 3 people were already dead, and she was next in line. But let's go back to where this nightmare began. 3 months earlier, in the bustling streets of Enugu.
Hey.
Amara Okafor was 28 years old and utterly broke. Every morning, she woke up at 4 a.m. in her cramped one-room apartment in New Haven, Enugu. By 5:30, she was already at the market, selling groundnuts and plantain chips from a wooden tray balanced on her head. This wasn't the life she'd imagined. With a degree in business administration from the University of Nigeria, she dreamed of working in a glass office building, wearing pencil skirts and heels. Instead, she was dodging potholes and fighting for customers who haggled over 5 naira. Her father had died when she was 12. Her mother, just 2 years ago. She had no siblings. No relatives who claimed her. In Nigeria, where family is everything, Amara had learned to be everything to herself. On Tuesday, March 15th, she found the letter. It was thick, expensive paper. The kind she'd only seen in movies. The envelope bore the seal of Benson, Okonkwo and Associates, one of the oldest law firms in Lagos. Her address was handwritten in elegant calligraphy. Inside, the letter began, "Dear Miss Amara Okafor, it is with great solemnity that we inform you of the passing of your great-uncle, Chief Adewale Okafor, who departed this world on February 28, 2024. Amara stared at the name. Chief Adewale Okafor. She'd heard whispers about him growing up. The uncle who'd disowned the entire family decades ago. The uncle who'd become impossibly wealthy through means nobody discussed. The uncle whose name her mother spoke only in hushed tones, and always with the sign of the cross. The letter continued, as his sole surviving blood relative, you are named as the primary beneficiary of his estate, valued at approximately 2.4 billion naira. 2.4 billion naira. Amara dropped the letter, then picked it up. Read it again, then screamed so loud her neighbor, Mama Ngozi, came banging on her door asking if armed robbers had broken in. 2 weeks later, Amara stood in the marble lobby of the Benson, Okonkwo and Associates building on Victoria Island. She'd taken her first ever flight. She'd never been to Lagos. The city was overwhelming, massive, chaotic, alive with money and desperation in equal measure. Mr. Benson was 70 if he was a day. He wore a 3-piece suit despite the Lagos heat and spoke with the measured tone of a man who'd seen too much. And so, Mr. Benson told her about Chief Adewale Okafor.
Miss Okafor, before we proceed, I must fulfill my obligation to Chief Adewale's final wishes. He insisted I tell you this personally.
Born in 1945 in a small village outside Enugu, Adewale was brilliant but poor. When the Civil War ended, he moved to Lagos with nothing but ambition and hunger. He tried everything: trading, import-export, construction. Everything failed. By 1978, at 33, he was sleeping in an uncompleted building in Yaba, eating once a day, contemplating suicide. That's when he met Baba Tunde. Baba Tunde was a Babalawo, a traditional priest, feared and revered across Lagos. People said he could make you rich beyond imagination. They also said his money came with a price. Adewale was desperate. He went to Baba Tunde's compound in Badagry at midnight, as instructed. What happened that night, no one knows for certain. But Mr. Benson told Amara what Chief Adewale had confessed on his deathbed. The ritual required 3 things: Adewale's blood, the photograph of someone he loved, and a promise, a blood oath, that he would never marry, never have children, and that his wealth would pass to the next blood relative when he died. Adewale gave the Babalawo a photograph of his younger sister, Amara's grandmother. The woman who'd raised him after their mother died. The woman he loved most in the world. Within 6 months, Adewale's first business deal earned him 50,000 naira, a fortune in 1978. Within 2 years, he was a millionaire. Within 10, he owned hotels, oil blocks, and real estate across West Africa. But his sister, she died 3 months after the ritual. Sudden illness. No explanation. She was only 34 years old. Over the next 46 years, Chief Adewale Okafor became one of the wealthiest men in Nigeria. He never married, never had children, lived alone in his mansion in Ikoyi, surrounded by servants who whispered about the strange things they saw at night. And according to Mr. Benson, in those 46 years, every single member of the Okafor family who came asking him for money died within a year. Mr. Benson leaned forward, his eyes grave.
Miss Okafor, Chief Adewale wanted me to tell you this because he believed you had a right to know.
The money is legally yours, but he also said the curse is real and it passes with the inheritance.
Amara walked out of that office into the Lagos heat, her mind spinning. 2.4 billion naira. It was generational wealth. She could buy a house, start a business, help her community, never worry about money again. But a curse, blood rituals, dead relatives. She spent 3 days in a budget hotel in Yaba, barely eating, barely sleeping. She called her pastor back in Enugu. He prayed for her over the phone and said, "Sister Amara, no curse can stand against the blood of Jesus." She called her friend Tomiwa, a nurse, who said, "Amara, take the money. No be only curse. This is Nigeria. Everybody's family has juju stories. Did your uncle die young? No. He lived to be 79. Take the money and go." But Amara couldn't shake the feeling. That night, she had a dream. She was in a vast forest. Dark. Humid. The trees were talking in a language she almost understood. In the center of the clearing stood Chief Adewale, but younger, maybe 35. He was wearing white, stained with red at the chest. He looked at her and said, "You can refuse it." "Refuse what?" she asked. "The money. The inheritance. You can walk away. But if you take it, the covenant continues. The price must be paid." "What price?" He smiled, sad and terrible. "Someone you love." Amara woke up drenched in sweat. And on the 4th day, she made her decision. She went back to Benson, Okonkwo and Associates. She signed the papers. She became a billionaire. She told herself it was just superstition, just stories. This was 21st century. She was educated. She was a Christian. Curses weren't real. But deep down, in a place she didn't want to acknowledge, she knew she just made a terrible mistake. For the first 6 weeks, life was a dream. Amara moved to a 3-bedroom flat in Lekki Phase 1. She bought a Toyota Camry. She hired a driver and a housekeeper. She opened a store in Enugu, Amara's luxury boutique, and employed 5 people, including Tomiwa, her nurse friend. She sent money to Maman Ngozi, her former neighbor. She donated to her church. She sponsored 10 children's school fees in her old neighborhood. People started calling her Auntie Amma. "Madam Amara, our daughter who has made it." She felt like she was flying, like she'd finally become the person she was meant to be. But then, small things started happening. Her housekeeper, a woman named Blessing, mentioned that sometimes at night, she heard footsteps in the corridor when everyone was asleep. Heavy, male footsteps. But when she checked, no one was there. Amara would wake up at exactly 3:17 a.m. every single night. She didn't know why, but it was always 3:17. Like clockwork. And the dreams. Oh, the dreams were getting worse. Every night, she was back in that forest. But now there were others. Shadowy figures standing in a circle. And in the center, a wooden bowl. And in the bowl, she could never see what was in it, but she knew it was something terrible. She told herself it was stress. Adjustment. The pressure of sudden wealth. But then, on April 30th, exactly 6 weeks after she'd signed the papers, Tomiwa collapsed. One moment, Tomiwa was laughing, helping a customer at the boutique. The next, she was on the floor, convulsing. The ambulance rushed her to Federal Medical Center. The doctors ran every test. They found nothing wrong. Nothing. But Tomiwa wouldn't wake up. She was in a coma, stable vitals, but completely unresponsive. Amara sat by her bedside for 3 days. On the third night, Tomiwa's mother arrived, an elderly woman from the village who'd traveled 8 hours. She took one look at her daughter, then one look at Amara, and she knew. What did you do? What did you bring into her life? Amara tried to explain, tried to deny, but the woman grabbed her arm with surprising strength. I can smell it on you. Death. Blood money. You have been marked. And now you have marked my daughter by bringing her close to you. The woman called a village priest that very night. He came to the hospital, a small, weathered man with tribal marks on his face and eyes that seemed to see through everything. He looked at Amara, looked at Tomiwa. Then he pulled out divination beads and cast them on the floor. This girl, he pointed at Tomiwa, she is the first. Payment. The covenant requires sacrifice. Someone close to you. Someone you love. This is how it works. Amara felt her blood turn to ice. How do I stop it? How do I save her? The priest shook his head. You cannot stop it. The covenant was made long before you. When you accepted the inheritance, you accepted the terms. The only way to break it is to give it all back. Every naira. Before the full moon. 3 days. Amara had 3 days. Amara didn't sleep. She called Mr. Benson. He was shocked, hesitant, but agreed to help. I warned you, he said quietly. Chief Adiwale warned you. But returning 2.4 billion naira wasn't simple. It was in investments, properties, stocks, accounts. She had to liquidate everything. She had to move fast. She sold her car, listed her apartment, closed the boutique, paying her employees severance with what little liquid cash she had left. People thought she'd gone mad. Amara, what are you doing? Madam, why are you throwing away your blessing? But Amara didn't care. She could see Tomiwa in that hospital bed, tubes in her arms, her mother weeping. She remembered the dream. The forest. Chief Adiwale's words, someone you love. On the second day, Tomiwa's condition worsened. The doctors said her organs were starting to fail. They couldn't explain it. There was no medical reason. Amara worked through the second night. Mr. Benson helped arrange emergency transactions. By dawn of the third day, the day of the full moon, they'd liquidated everything. Everything except one property, Chief Adiwale's mansion in Ikoyi. Mr. Benson told her, if you want to truly break the covenant, you must return to where it was sustained. The mansion. Tonight. Before moonrise. At 6:45 p.m., as the sun set over Lagos, Amara stood before Chief Adiwale's mansion. She hadn't been here since signing the papers. The compound was vast, surrounded by high walls, overgrown with vegetation that seemed deliberately wild. The air smelled wrong, like decay and incense and something else. Something ancient. The priest had given her instructions. She had to go to Chief Adiwale's private chamber. There, she would find a shrine, because of course there was a shrine. She had to place all the transfer documents there. She had to renounce the inheritance out loud. And she had to do it before the full moon rose at 8:03 p.m. She had 1 hour and 18 minutes. The mansion was enormous. 3 floors. Dozens of rooms. She searched the second floor. Nothing. Her phone showed 7:15 p.m. On the third floor, at the end of a long corridor, she found a door. It was different from the others. Carved wood, strange symbols etched into the frame. She pushed it open. The room was exactly like her dreams. Red cloth draped the walls. In the center, a small shrine. Cowrie shells. Dried leaves. A wooden bowl. And photographs. Dozens of them. Chief Adiwale's sister. other family members, all dead. And their most recent, printed and placed deliberately on top, was a photograph of Tomiwa. Amara's hands shook as she placed the documents on the shrine. She pulled out the written renunciation Mr. Benson had prepared. She began to read, her voice cracking. I, Amara Okafor, hereby renounce and return the full inheritance of Chief Adewale Okafor. I reject the covenant. I break the blood oath. I return everything. I want nothing. Please, please let her live. The room seemed to darken. The air grew cold. And then, the photographs began to move. Not wind. They were turning over by themselves. One by one, until only Tomiwa's remained face up. Amara heard a voice. Deep. Ancient. Not quite human. The covenant requires payment. And Amara, crying now, screaming, said the only thing she could think of. Then take me instead. Let her go. I'm the one who signed. I'm the blood relative. Take me. The room went completely silent, completely still. And then, from outside, church bells. It was 8:03 p.m. The full moon had risen. Amara waited for something terrible, but nothing happened. The room was just a room. The photographs were just photographs. Her phone rang. Mr. Benson. Miss Okafor. I don't know how, but the transfer's just finalized. Every account is back to zero. The properties are reverted. It's done. It's all done. Amara couldn't speak. She ran from that mansion. She didn't stop running until she reached her car. She drove straight to the hospital. Dawn was breaking. She burst into Tomiwa's room. Tomiwa was awake, sitting up, eating a kara her mother had brought. She looked confused when Amara came in, sobbing. Hammy, what's wrong? Why are you crying? The doctor said I had some weird fainting thing, but I'm fine now. They're discharging me today. Amara hugged her so tightly Tomiwa yelped. 6 months later, Amara was back in Enugu. Back in a one-room apartment, though a slightly better one than before. Back to hustling, though now she sold clothes from online orders instead of groundnuts. She wasn't rich, but she was alive. Tomiwa was alive. And every night, she slept through until morning. No more 3:17 a.m. No more dreams. The mansion in Ikoyi, Mr. Benson told her it burned down 3 days after she renounced the inheritance. Electrical fire, the authorities said. It burned so completely that nothing remained but ash and the iron gate. Amara never told anyone the full story. People in her neighborhood still whispered about her. The girl who became a billionaire and gave it all away. They said she was crazy. They said she was cursed. She let them talk. Because here's what Amara learned. In Nigeria, in Africa, there are things older than the churches we build. Older than the roads we pave. Older than the English we speak. There are covenants written in blood. There are prices for power. And there are some inheritances that cost far more than they're worth. She chose life. She chose freedom. She chose poverty with peace over wealth with death. And every night, before she sleeps, she says a prayer of thanks. Not for money, not for status, but for something far more valuable. The chance to wake up without owing anything to the darkness. Some fortunes are meant to stay buried. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button. Subscribe for more African mysteries and untold stories. And in the comments, tell us, would you have taken the money or walked away? See you in the next one.